I am so happy with how this looks for the Rangers. We have a pitcher, Jack Leiter, and he is a dude.
And while I do think his hitting is worse than Derek Jeter, it's not that far off.
You're not mentioning 2006. You can mention the other people, not 2006.
Oh, just because I bought the best soap doesn't mean your room's going to be clean. It just leaves it to where I don't believe that the Canadians had a shot.
I really don't like the Clippers just kind of sending it in when they're like...
Hi, this is Kelly Forbes with the Dallas Stars, and you're listening to Outsiders Opinions with Kevin and Austin.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to our NFL Opinions of the Week. We've already talked about an 0-3 team. Now on to another 0-3 team, and my, how much this guy has fallen, this team has fallen, and the man that I always discuss this with, Austin.
Yeah, Kevin, this has been something that we didn't really expect. I don't think we either expected the Jaguars or the Bengals to start off this poorly. I don't think I didn't have them as a playoff team, but I did have them close. I had them going above 500, and I don't know if they're going to reach that right now.
Yeah, and I'm starting to wonder. I texted you who gets fired first. Well, we'll save the other coach, but Doug Pederson was on that list, and I'm really wondering, how does he make it through the season? We did a hot seat rankings. How does he fit through the season? Because they're 0-3. I'm wondering what their last few games have been like, because last year they had a tough losing streak. So what happened to Doug Pederson? He has probably one of the most remarkable head coaching, I would say, trajectories for winning a Super Bowl with the Nick Foles Super Bowl win over the Patriots.
Yeah, and I don't know how he come to this. Something I did find interesting, and I want to ask you this question: was he ever that great? Doug Pederson has one season, Kevin, with double-digit wins. Double-digit. So every other season of his career has been 9 or less wins, besides the Super Bowl year.
Wow, I did not know that. That is definitely an interesting stat. I think he is great. I still, as I voice crack saying that, I still think he's great. It's really hard to tell what is happening with this Jaguars team.
Yeah, another fact, he is 4 games above 500 in his career. He's 60, 56, and 1 over 117 games as a head coach. He has a better win percentage in the playoffs than he does in the regular season by a large margin, by over 10%.
Yeah, it could mean there are definitely coaches that win a Super Bowl. It seems like Mike McCarthy is at this point. I'm trying to think of another Super Bowl head.
Some people will bring it up with Harbaugh.
Yeah, Harbaugh is, except you do have the double-digit wins, even especially taking a team to the Super Bowl. Those coaches leave. John Fox brought.
John Fox had at least made it back. McCarthy, yeah. John Harbaugh, and Doug Pederson have not done that. Fox at least was the NFC champions with the Carolina Panthers, and then was the AFC champions with Denver, and then he didn't actually win a title, though, because he had left. It was Gary Kubiak who was the head coach for the Broncos when they won their title.
Yes. Yeah, I thought of John Fox because he's a guy that took teams to Super Bowls but then couldn't get a win. You have Ron Rivera, who that incredible season with the Panthers and got fired with Washington. So maybe it's just the way it is. Something may have changed. Doug Pederson's message isn't working, because I used to think he was the top coach, and this is really putting it into perspective with those stats with 4 games above 500.
Yeah, for a career. And do you think the Jaguars will fire him before midseason.
Ooh, before midseason. So we have about
So there's 17 weeks. I would say week 8 or earlier. So before week 9.
Oh man, that's really tough. Let's look.
Or I guess there's 18 weeks. So I'll let you do again before 9. Yeah, 9 or before.
I'm very curious on the bye week for the Jaguars because that does play a part into it.
Their bye week is bye week 12. Their bye week is 12.
Ooh, man, they have some tough stretches though.
Yeah, they play the Texans. That'll be a tough game.
Yeah, then you play the Colts, which who knows?
They struggled some. What I am interested about is I thought the loss of the Browns wasn't that bad because the defense is so good for the Browns, but I mean the Browns just lost to the Giants. I just like there is the fact that the 3 teams they lost to were in the playoffs last year, but I mean their offense has scored 17, 13, 10. And he's an offensive coordinator. I don't care about the defense giving up 47 against the Bills when they were losing games with their defense allowing 18. Their team has not scored over 17 points in a game. They are third to worst in points for with only 40.
Yeah, and Trevor Lawrence doesn't look great speaking to the offense, and that's what he was brought to do. They've invested a high draft pick, a high contract, and he was kind of seen as that quarterback guru.
The only 2 teams with a worse points for are the Dolphins, and that's almost basically because of Tua's injury, right? They scored 20, and then Tua gets hurt, and they only scored 10, and then last week they scored 3. And the other team is the Patriots, and the Patriots have had to play the Jets, who they scored 3 against the Jets, but they scored. Let me put it this way: every team in the league scored at least 20, I believe, in a game. Oh no, the Titans have not, but the Titans have been more consistently scoring above 17, or they scored 17 twice and 14 once. The Browns have also scored more than 17 in the game. They scored 18. It's bad, though. You have the Dolphins, who are without their starting quarterback, and you have the Patriots, who are 1 point less, and only, I would say, because they played an insane defense to the Jets, that definitely did not help them out. But like the Giants have 45 points. Teams like the Panthers are at 49, and the Jaguars are at 40 flat. What's more concerning is if you look at the entire AFC, they've given up the most points. Their point differential is minus 45. They have the second worst point differential in football. The only team that has a worse point differential is Carolina by 1 point.
Man, that's pretty grim. And looking at it right now, I would say probably it's more likely he gets fired before week 9. But I feel... How long did it take the Jaguars to fire Urban Meyer?
That is a great question.
Because it felt like it took a while for them.
13 games.
13 games. Yeah, and that was Urban Meyer, who had never coached in the NFL. I would say it's going to be post bye week and post halfway. Maybe they go on a run, and this could all be he figures it out. It finally works, but it seems very unlikely given the stats you've brought up in this episode.
Yeah, it was after week 14, after their 20-0 loss to the Titans.
Dude, that is a wild time.
Yeah. Now that team wasn't good, but Meyer was a horrible coach. And I don't know. I will say this. If this is his last year with the Jaguars, which I believe it will be if they don't make the playoffs, no matter what. If they don't make the playoffs, I don't see how he returns.
Yeah, I think it's very hard to see him next year, especially with this start, because it's hard to get out
if they make the playoffs, I could see him returning, but he would have to make the playoffs. They'd have to have a crazy return or return for grace. this team would. And also, I think they would have to make the playoffs, maybe win a game for him to return. Do you think he gets a job post-Jaguars as a head coach?
No, it's pretty tough after your second head coaching job.
Even though he's won a Super Bowl? I think what really tarnished it is the tanking scandal kind of that he had, and he was fired because of that. And it's kind of been bad ever since.
Yeah, to me, it's really hard to hire a coach, even with the Super Bowl win twice. Just because it would have to take a lot. To me, I think he goes back to being an OC, and then maybe he works his way up. I'm trying to think right now, who is a coach that got, except they're all young NFL coaches now. I guess John Fox is the last guy that I think who got multiple tries, because you mentioned the Panthers. Wasn't he also with the Bears at one?
Yeah, that was after
the Broncos. So yeah, third job with no Super Bowl win. So,
but he kind of left while his teams were good. He left after an AFC Championship appearance.
I thought he got fired from the Broncos job. John Fox.
In 2014?
I thought he got fired.
How do you fire a coach after making the Super Bowl and then going like 12-4? I thought he left.
I thought he was fired. Okay. So in 2015, Fox and the Broncos mutually agreed to part ways.
He's the only coach in Broncos history to never miss the playoffs.
Huh. That is... Then he was definitely fired. Definitely fired by the Bears.
Yeah, they went 12-4, in 2014. Yeah. I find it hard to believe that he was fired. I mean, I guess maybe sometimes partially parting ways is a firing, but man, I don't know.
Yeah. So I guess because that's the only guy that sticks in my mind. Multiple head coaching jobs, no Super Bowl win, but you mentioned his Broncos accolades. I can't think of another guy.
I mean, there's also guys that are let go, like John Fox said, is after extremely good stints. Like if Vrabel were to go somewhere, Vrabel had a lot of good years. I know it ended off poorly, but
yeah, to me, it's just the second time. Because Mike McCarthy, I doubt he gets another head coaching job soon. It's after two tries to me. It seems very much teams aren't willing to go back there. They'll just find a new young guy.
Was Pete Carroll 2? Was it just 2?
Yeah, just 2. The Seahawks were his second one.
Oh, I knew that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it was this. He didn't coach. Did he coach?
He coached, or what was your? I want to make sure we're on the right page because he went after the Patriots. He went to USC, then the Seahawks.
No, it was his third team.
Oh, really?
He coached one season, all 16 games with the Jets in 1994.
Okay.
And then he went to New England for 3 years. So he coached in 94 for the Jets, 97, 98, 99 for the New England Patriots. And then Seahawks 2010.
Okay, so that's the third guy. Or that's the guy with third.
And he had the majority of his success after his first two.
Yeah. So, to me, Doug Pederson's immediate job in the NFL, he may not even is an offensive coordinator job. I don't see it being another head coaching job.
Yeah. Yeah, he was fired after one season. He was elevated to head coach for the Jets and fired after one season. So, yeah, he was fired. So, yeah, he was fired after the Patriots as well. But he was not – I guess he was fired because they wanted a younger voice, which I I guess it's working out for the Seahawks right now, even though he had a pretty successful tenure with them, obviously.
Yeah, to me that it made it look like he was stepping away, but looks like he was maybe that mutually agreed or similar to John Fox.
I guess. But I don't think that he wanted to be moved to the front office or whatever he was moved into.
Yeah. So, to me, I think going over that just shows how tough it would be for Doug Pederson to get a third head coaching offer, especially right after this and the way it's gone.
Yeah, I completely agree.
So let us know your thoughts. Do you think Doug Pederson? Are we calling it too early with Doug Pederson? Should we give some more time? What are your thoughts in the comments? We appreciate all your comments and thank you for listening to Outsiders Opinions.